Bhagavad Gita is the cream of the Upanishads. It is the crest jewel of Mahabharata. It is an epitome of all the Vedic teachings. Sivananda Saraswati, author of over 200 books on yoga, Vedanta, and a variety of subjects. The Bhagavad Gita is a famous passage from the Indian epic Mahabharata, and it presents a dialogue that expresses the absolute truth of the universe and the wisdom of human beings. It is the core essence of India's 5,000-year-old wisdom culture, and it unifies the teachings of wisdom, epistemology, and methodology found throughout the Mahabharata into a single system. The purpose of translating and interpreting the Bhagavad Gita is to guide people in studying its literary creativity, educational value, and authentic wisdom. The Bhagavad Gita emerged naturally against the background of humanity's collective search for life's truth and the absolute truth of the universe. It is a depiction of the wisdom experiences personally realized and verified by sages, and serves as a classic expression of the educational culture of wisdom. It has been passed down orally and through written texts, showcasing the profound appeal and cultural transmission of the wisdom tradition. In the course of the Mahabharata's expansive development and transmission, the Bhagavad Gita serves as its core, upholding the fundamental truths of traditional wisdom. It actualizes this wisdom through practical education, extending it from methods and principles to all aspects of social life and human behavior. Through this, the purpose and value of wisdom education is fully revealed. Therefore, the Mahabharata, with its poetic and epic character, is regarded as the encyclopedia of ancient India. It holds an important position in the history of global wisdom literature, the history of wisdom education, and in the development of literature, philosophy, and religion. Due to the lack of first-hand practice and realization of wisdom, over the past 2,000 years, people have been unable to penetrate the symbolic metaphors, obscurities, analogies, and figurative expressions of the Bhagavad Gita to clearly discern its profound and pure foundation of wisdom. As a result, this classic text of wisdom has often been treated merely as a religious scripture, worshipped and offered to as divine. The enlightened realm of wisdom it reveals, where one aligns with the way and virtue of human life, has instead been idolized, with awakened beings revered as gods and deities. In this way, the intrinsic vitality of its wisdom-based educational transmission has gradually faded and disappeared. It is precisely because of this fundamental reason that most translations of the Bhagavad Gita, both ancient and modern, from both Eastern and Western perspectives, fail to grasp its original intent. This has undermined its educational, literary, and cultural transmission value as a work of wisdom. The inner essence of human-rooted wisdom cannot be manifested through theoretical knowledge, nor can it be understood merely through words or texts. Regardless of whether one approaches it from a philosophical, religious, or literary perspective, none can fully reveal the educational nature, wisdom value, and cultural inheritance of the Bhagavad Gita. Although this passage appears to use the theme of war as its framework, it is in fact intended to illuminate the inner world of human beings through the depiction of life and death conflict. Through the symbolic and allegorical narrative, it reveals the social and natural attributes of human thought, behavior, and activity. 1. The formation of the epic poem. The Bhagavad Gita has a long history. From the perspective of historians, the creation of this epic should date back to between the 4th and 5th centuries BCE. During this period, not only was the Bhagavad Gita's 700-verse content produced, but the entirety of the Mahabharata epic also took shape. At that time, people with higher cultural knowledge greatly revered the wisdom, thoughts, and classic texts left by ancient sages. Similarly, the authors of the Mahabharata drew upon contemporary legends and stories to supplement their writing. Moreover, they employed literary forms involving hymns, ritual chants, and content sung or recited during worship, which resembled the expressive styles used around the 3rd millennium BCE. Among the hundreds of thousands of verses in the Mahabharata, many details were continuously polished and refined by later generations. In essence, no matter how complex and vast the content of the Mahabharata is, it is fundamentally an expansion of the themes found in the Bhagavad Gita. The formation of the Mahabharata not only continued the ancient tradition of traveling bards, orally composing and enriching historical poems, but also reflected the Indian sages' practice of editing and perfecting classical texts through debate, a process similar to scholarly scriptural discussions. Thus, the Mahabharata was completed in such a social and cultural environment, and over nearly 800 years, it gradually matured and evolved into a grand historical work rich in both poetic and educational wisdom. In essence, these works can be traced back as far as 5,000 years and are products of the transmission of ancient wisdom education cultures. Second, returning to the source. From a historical perspective, the Mahabharata can be regarded as an encyclopedic historical text. From a cultural standpoint, it also possesses the general literary and artistic characteristics of an epic poem. However, its intrinsic significance has only one core purpose: to serve humanity by verifying fundamental wisdom, while also revealing the essential natural and social attributes of individual consciousness and the foundational elements of human perception and cognition. The entire content of the Mahabharata revolves around the individual's process of self-cultivation, where various mental and conscious activities, as well as differing external behaviors, are all reflected. This is especially evident in its core chapter, the Bhagavad Gita. In this text, metaphor, symbolism, exaggeration, and personification are employed as literary techniques to depict the inner state and refinement process of a wisdom practitioner. These methods embody the thought, speech, and conduct expected in that process, along with principles for navigating relationships with nature and society. They also offer frameworks and summaries for how to handle various situations in life. For example, the Gita presents principles for proper responses to natural and social events, emphasis on appropriate action and measured behavior, guidance on correct psychological and physiological reactions. It is important to note that Indian sages, be they philosophers, monks, or saints, were highly skilled in observing and describing the observable traits of people, events, and objects. They could extract summaries and general principles from these observations, forming stable conclusions and rules for understanding the world. In this work, whenever a metaphor or symbolic character from a certain historical period appears, it typically reflects social and historical meaning, as well as different layers of consciousness and perception. Therefore, because the Mahabharata encompasses such a vast amount of content and was transmitted orally for generations, it was inevitable that parts of it were lost or altered over time. During ancient times in India, various ethnic groups had different customs and religious beliefs, and linguistic variations also existed. Because of disputes between kingdoms and interest groups, conflicts were common. This led to different versions of the Mahabharata being passed down in various regions, resulting in significant textual differences between regions. The Bhagavad Gita, as part of this oral tradition, likewise exhibits multiple versions with considerable variation. In the 20th century, scholars of literature and history undertook the task of collecting and editing various versions of the Bhagavad Gita, compiling and selecting from them in order to synthesize the versions from southern and northern India into a standardized version, or so-called common edition. However, some of the researchers involved in this effort may not have truly understood the profound meaning of the Bhagavad Gita's wisdom. They approached it solely from the perspectives of historical culture, literary art, or social and cultural classification. In such cases, the Bhagavad Gita's essence, its wisdom, educational function, and cultural transmission, was inevitably compromised or lost. This is one of the major reasons for the rigid formalism that later plagued Indian wisdom traditions and education. So, where exactly does this formalism manifest? Let us use an example to clarify. Human conduct in life is typically expressed through three modes of behavior: virtuous conduct, desire-driven conduct, and ignorant, dull conduct. Many translators, researchers, and commentators interpret the expression of human wisdom as equivalent to virtuous conduct alone. Doing so causes the true essence of wisdom in the Bhagavad Gita to disappear. In fact, the development of true wisdom is founded upon virtuous behavior, but it transcends it. It is realized through inner work and purification of one's awareness. If one conflates true wisdom with virtuous conduct, they overlook the essential difference between the two. Otherwise, the text would not so strongly emphasize transcending the three modes of behavior and realizing true wisdom beyond them. The three essentials of life: Dharma, Artha, and Kama. The ancient Indian sages summarized that the three essential conditions for human life to exist in both nature and society are Dharma, law and moral order, Artha, profit and benefit, and Kama, desire. These are known as the three essentials of life. They are also foundational to the development of ancient Indian wisdom education culture, ethnic traditions, and social values. The vast epic of the Mahabharata, with its hundreds of thousands of verses, essentially revolves around the unification of Dharma, Artha, and Kama, exploring how human thought, speech, and action can align with righteous law. What is Dharma? Simply put, Dharma is the law of nature. Thoughts, speech, and actions that follow the principles of nature constitute Dharma. These include the laws governing the operation of the cosmos, the grand laws of social development, and the evolution of all things in nature and society, including the laws of human life. Whether large or small, all forms of regulation fall within the scope of Dharma. For us, Dharma is the wisdom that reveals fundamental truths. It is the verification of the ultimate truth of the universe. All great cosmic truths are Dharma. Aligning with the law of nature, engaging in activities that embody natural ethics, and following moral standards in social life, these are all expressions of Dharma. Artha refers to benefit or profit. Profit refers to the necessary conditions for living and thriving, including material needs for survival and spiritual or psychological needs. All forms of legal, reasonable, and measured acquisition or creation fall under Artha. The development and prosperity of human society rely on the benefits produced by our actions and creativity. Kama refers to desire. Desire is a natural human need. It includes sensory functions, instinctive drives, and emotional or aesthetic desires. Fulfillment of the basic needs for survival and social activity, including food, life, and joy, are all rooted in the fundamental concept of karma. Dharma, law, artha, benefit, and karma, desire, constitute the essential inner structure of the three major pillars of human survival in the world. one must never discard artha and kama. Even today, many practitioners in India misunderstand the true meaning of wisdom and therefore wrongly consider desire and gain to be worldly evils to be renounced. What must be emphasized is that the creation of benefit and the expression of desire must be based on Dharma. They must conform to the requirements of Dharma. In the context of ancient Indian wisdom education culture, the natural needs of sensory functions refer to the 6 roots of human senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and the natural responses of those functions, the 7 emotions, joy, anger, sorrow, fear, love, hate, and desire, and the 6 desires, form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and Dharma. Any creation of benefit that does not align with Dharma violates the natural laws of the development of things. Any desire that does not conform to Dharma is the indulgence of selfish greed and deluded craving. Dharma is the fundamental principle guiding all human thought, speech, and conduct. Thus, the Bhagavad Gita states, "I is the complete embodiment of wisdom belonging to one who courageously enters the realm of refined inner strength. The greedy and deluded thoughts and desires arise from this unconscious state of awareness, generating the self, ego, and detachment. I is the expression of the innate interests and emotional nature required for the continuation of all life. It reflects the natural state of emotion and desire through the functioning of all sensory faculties. This I is the root of Dharma and virtue. It represents the supreme and sublime Dharma. It corresponds with the Tao Te Ching, which speaks of the selfless nature of the sage who acts without striving and whose state of wisdom is expressed as desireless. The wisdom realm of no desire and without action is actually a higher transformation of Dharma, Artha, and Karma, not a negation of them. This, then, is the essential meaning of the 3 essentials of life: Dharma, Artha, and Kama. The 4th age of myth as the age of laws. Many people say that theology played a major role in the development of human society, especially in ancient civilizations and particularly in the culture passed down from ancient India. So, among the various wisdom legacies inherited from ancient Indian civilization, why does the phenomenon of polytheism appear? What is hidden within the appearance of many gods? What is the cultural significance behind the expression of polytheistic beliefs? These questions are related to the historical texts Mahabharata and Ramayana, as well as the Upanishads and the Vedic culture. They are all tied to the specific modes of expression and characteristics of Indian cultural transmission. Ancient people were not as ignorant and foolish as we might imagine today. Rather, they lived in times when writing was underdeveloped and education had not yet become widespread. Many of the natural laws and patterns of the universe were not commonly known to the public. Thus, sages and enlightened beings would use the most vivid and accessible language, rooted in practical daily life, to express these ideas. By using symbolic analogies, metaphors, exaggeration, and personification, they could represent that which was objectively real, yet complex and invisible in ways that were easier to understand. This helped people comprehend and follow the natural laws inherent in the world. These personified representations of natural laws became known as gods. Those who could master themselves and follow natural law in their actions and thoughts were called deities, sages, or enlightened beings. Using imaginative and dream-like expressions, ancient texts describe these gods and their alignment with the laws of nature. mythological stories became the medium for passing down these teachings. In essence, myths were meant to tell people, one must learn to live in harmony with all things in heaven and earth in order to survive within the natural and social environment. The cycle of creation, evolution, and dissolution that governs the universe, the unceasing cycle of life, was described in Indian wisdom as the law of creation, preservation, and destruction. So then, what are the gods that correspond to this law? They are the gods of creation, Brahma, preservation, Vishnu, and destruction, Shiva, a divine trinity. These three gods are unified in essence but different in name and function. Among them, emptiness represents a fundamental and inseparable essence shared by all three. What then is the concept of God in ancient Indian wisdom? It is the great Brahman, the ultimate absolute truth in the universe, the supreme origin of all existence. For the various laws governing the operation of things in our daily lives, how are they related to gods? For example, we often say, "There is a door, God." Does the door really have a God? In truth, yes. Anything that operates cyclically and unceasingly is considered divine. The constant motion of life itself is divine. The Indian cycle of creation, preservation, destruction, and emptiness can also be expressed as creation, dwelling, decay, and extinction. While the emphasis may differ, the essence is the same. This book applies the specific terms according to their intended meaning. The opening and closing of doors are cyclical, thus, the door is considered divine. A door allows for entering and exiting and must open and close in accordance with certain rules, hence we call it a door god. The door god is simply the principle governing doors. To give another example, when it rains, we open umbrellas. This means we understand the rule of rain and act accordingly. When floods occur, we build drainage systems and levees to manage and control the water. This shows that we've conquered the river god or water god. Why did the ancients express such principles in the form of gods? It was to help people better understand the laws of nature, to live in harmony with their environment, and ultimately to reach the goal of unity with nature. Across time and cultures, sages and wise beings have seen this ultimate truth. The end of life and the path of life as aligning with the divine. Whether in Indian or Chinese wisdom traditions, such symbolic expressions helped convey teachings and made the transmission of wisdom easier and more effective. So how do we align ourselves with the divine? In the Bhagavad Gita, it says we must manifest the true self, I, through actual personal practice. To realize the great wisdom of the Tao and Dharma, Indian wisdom terms this process sacrifice, yajna. The cosmic law of transformation is the foundation of all sacrifice. The natural laws governing human nature and life are aligned with the cosmic cycle and form the origin of sacrifice. When a person refines their mind through wisdom and purifies their heart through personal practice, they embody the supplement of nature. Through moral discipline, a person becomes one with nature. This is what the ancient Indians called pure devotion or selfless offering. Devotion, or bhakti, a technical term in ancient Indian wisdom culture, as in bhakti yoga. It refers to full reliance and practice rooted in truth. I is the source and ruler of all sacrifice. All forms of devotion must return to this I. Pure devotion means performing one's duties in accordance with the Tao and Dharma. It neither clings to desire nor rejects it. The whole of human life, nature, and society's interconnected relationships all originate from this principle. restoring the true brilliance of the hidden jewel. The rise of speculative theology and superstitious religion stems from people's lack of understanding of the physical nature of the universe. Only through learning and practicing wisdom-based education and cultural transmission can we fundamentally eliminate the delusions of mystical theology, supernaturalism, and religious fanaticism. Wisdom-based educational culture must be personally verified and understood through one's own practice. To understand the true essence of any classic work of wisdom across history, one must reach the experiential realm of awakened insight. One could say that wisdom must be practiced and verified to manifest a teacherless state of clarity. This process of organization, discovery, revision, and restoration is essential for recognizing the true value of any wisdom classic. Therefore, without actually practicing the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, one cannot genuinely interpret its inner wisdom, transmissibility, and educational value. Our principle for translating and interpreting the Bhagavad Gita is to base it on one's own experience of self-cultivation without losing sight of the traditional modes of expression found in Indian wisdom culture. At the same time, we naturally incorporate some of the methods and expressions from other wisdom cultures to make it easier to understand, accept, and practice. Otherwise, the vast and profound classic that is the Bhagavad Gita would be difficult for a wider audience to comprehend and recognize, let alone to propagate. Our translation and commentary on the Bhagavad Gita comes from a comprehensive view of wisdom and education, presenting its historical significance, its artistic impact as epic literature, the cultural function of education in purifying society and promoting harmony, and its deeper wisdom that brings insight and clarity to human life. We aim to make this wisdom accessible through renewed interpretation and embodiment. The Bhagavad Gita is a radiant gem that has been buried in dust for thousands of years. Our task is to excavate it, restore its original beauty, and lift it into the light of truth, allowing every person to witness its dazzling brilliance. We must present the Bhagavad Gita's wisdom, educational value, and transmissible and practical essence to the world, so it may continue the sacred mission of guiding humanity and blessing the people.